stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. If you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. You think that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person, and you deal with that.
Yes and no. Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. That was Clarence Thomas speaking at University of Texas of Austin. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. It's time to rise in freedom. Click the like button. Good morning, guys. Testing. Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Tommy, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Sound off in the comments. Who we got here today? Siggy's mom, Tater Salad, Drew Van Runkle, John and KC, Cell Blocked, because I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm Johnny Somali. Let's jump right in. An American goes to South Korea, finds a memorial to women who were enslaved and tortured by the Japanese military during World War II. They were called comfort women. Decides that what this moment really needs is him grinding on the statue. That video right there, just for content, he got 6 months in a Korean prison, and we're going to explain why this is not a free speech story. This is actually a civilization story, because there's a difference between liberty and license, between dissent and degeneracy. And somewhere along the way, the American brain forgot how to tell them apart. Lee Kuan Yew never forgot. Singapore never forgot. And if you think a country that fines you for littering and jails you for turning a war memorial into a content farm is the real threat to freedom, then your definition of freedom is a dumpster flag with a flag on it. And no, thank you. Red Pill Prof is here as well. I'm sure he'll have a few things to say about Western civilization. Thou art based and red pilled, Mr. Prof. I doth profess. Welcome to the show, man. We're going to walk you exactly through where the West lost the plot and what it looks like when a serious nation decides that the comfort of decent people matters more than the appetites of the worst guy in the room. Speaking of men who thought they could get away with anything behind a good brand, Eric Swalwell is in free fall. Multiple women, active law enforcement investigations in 2 cities, and a resignation that landed like a controlled demolition in slow motion. But Swalwell is not even the real story anymore, because the good news is that he is a ever-expanding black hole, drawing into his orbit men like Ruben Gallego. Is that how they want us to say it? This is America. It's Gallego. Gallego. Naga, Hina, not going to work here anymore. The Harvard man, Senate winner, the future of the Democratic Party, who heard rumors about his friends, did not confront his friend, defended his friend publicly, and only rediscovered his moral compass the moment that the reporter showed up at the door.
That was flirty.
And that was when? About what year was it?
I mean, that was through, we've heard that throughout.
Senator, you just said, thank you so much. I want to clarify, because in the beginning,
No, I know we'll go back there.
In the beginning, you said when you first heard these rumors a few weeks ago, that's when you called him. Then you said you've heard these rumors for years. So which one is it, Senator?
So I heard rumors of him being flirty.
And that wasn't an issue enough for you to not trust him to watch your kids or be close with him?
So watch your kids.
You hear this, and then when you're close to somebody and you know his wife, you see this, you see that relationship, you know that like it maybe just isn't true.
Have you asked him about it prior to this few weeks?
I asked him about it a few weeks ago.
I had no idea what was going on as I was sitting on the bed with you filming the stripper in the same room. Yes. Oh, couldn't have happened to some nicer guys. This is a story about a party that keeps mistaking a good backstory, the identity politics, for actual character. And then they act surprised every single time the box opens and something ugly crawls out. Well, good news back home here in Missouri. Even more good news if you're looking for a white pill this morning. The Missouri Senate just voted to abolish Missouri's income tax. Yes. Let the angels sing, let the bells chime this morning. Rise in freedom, America. We are one more step closer. One step closer? One step closer more? One more step closer. One step closer. Cut it down, guys. One step closer to abolishing Missouri's income tax. God bless America and God bless Missouri. And I helped. Yeah. And so did Colton. He helped. He showed up, helped his boss, had to drop me off and then drive like a mile away so that we could get there in time. And of course, Camellia did the most of the work, but I'll take all the credit. Without me, boy. And of course, thank you to all of the Missouri state senators who voted in favor of abolishing the income tax. Red Pill Prof says we could use some of that anti-income tax energy down in Georgia. Yeah, boy, we need to spread freedom all across the South. But Missouri's going to lead the way, except Florida and Tennessee and some other states have done this before us too. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Missouri's starting to get rid of property taxes. At least they're pushing to get rid of property taxes for some certain individuals, which when you're a libertarian who's against taxes and thinks it's theft, you say, oh, well, that's good. Let's give some tax relief to the veterans who are senior citizens who are in the state and they're paying real estate property taxes. Until you realize this is all part of the conspiracy from big, total, boomer, luxury communism, and you realize that these are some of the richest, most powerful men in Missouri. So wait a minute. I want to get you make sure you get that income tax abolishment across the finish line, Senator and Congressman, before you help yourself. All the old, it just so happens that many of the people in Missouri who are in the legislature and in government happen to be old, senior citizen veteran males. Yes, we do. We appreciate you guys. But is this another step on the road to total boomer luxury communism? We'll talk about that and the generational divide when Camellia comes at 8 a.m. So it's going to be an awesome show because we've got CJ, who has been in the front lines of this and gets to take a little victory lap, but also she's got news. She's going to spill some tea on this show, and it's going to be some good stuff. Speaking of spilling tea, Austin Padgett will be joining us live here with his own tea. Hot, fresh. We're going to talk about Thomas Massie, Dave Smith, and the MAGA Civil War. Some voices on the right are saying Republicans need to be punished, even if Democrats benefit. Austin Padgett is here to tell us where principled pressure ends and political suicide begins. This is Wake Up America. I'm Austin Peterson. It's time to rise and freedom. God bless America. All right. So picture the scene, guys. This is not a debate hall, not a campus quad with armed leftists just waiting to kill any conservative that they can, like is happening in America now for some reason. This is not some grand battle for free speech. What we have here in this video that you're going to be seeing on your screen in just a moment, this is a memorial. Bronze girl in a chair, still quiet, built to honor women who were forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese military during World War II. Comfort women. This is a horrible, horrible aspect of history that many women aren't even completely aware of. And into this scene, into this place meant for memory, grief, national dignity. And into this scene walks Johnny Somali, that kid on the screen. His real name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail. He's got his phone in hand. His brain is in park. He's looking at a symbol of historical suffering and seeing not human pain, not national trauma, not a sacred public memory, but content. He filmed himself kissing the statue. Reports say he also twerked, right? He performs a lap dance from what you can see here. Now take into this, how rotten he is. This is a memorial to enslaved women, and this man's first instinct is to sexualize it, mock it, smear his own stupidity across it, and upload it for clicks. This is not a provocation in the service of truth. Right? This isn't even dancing at the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., which one could understand. This is a moral sewer backing up into public space. Right? This is the kind of act that tells you everything about the person who is doing it. Right? He doesn't see other people's country as real. He does not see their history as real. He does not see their wounds as real. He sees a stage. He sees a camera angle. He sees a way to make money by becoming the most repulsive American in the frame. And now the bill has arrived. Johnny Somali just got 6 months in prison from the Seoul Western District Court. Not for his political opinions, of course, not for posting, I disagree with the mayor on X, for conduct, for obstruction of business. Here's where Johnny Somali is standing these days.
Right in front of the toilet.
Since the room is small, fights often break out over the best spots. Weaker inmates usually suffer, so sleeping spots are assigned.
In order to prevent any kind of pecking order from forming among the inmates, all of the spots are assigned based on the order in which they first entered the living area. Naturally, the most coveted spots are assigned first, while the least desirable spot, the one right near the bathroom, always goes to the very newest arrival. Sleeping spots are assigned in this exact order. Inmates with a yellow badge number are usually those who are involved in organized crime or are considered high-interest individuals. Additionally, those inmates who believe they have some kind of clout or influence among the other inmates will often be seen there in the yellow badge. We monitor their room closely to ensure inmates don't sleep wherever they want instead of their spots. We are just checking to see if they sleep where they should.
Yeah, that's a jail in South Korea. He is not a political actor. He is a public nuisance. South Korea looked at his stunts. They watched the video that you just saw of him desecrating their memorial. He looked at the way that Johnny Somali had turned their civic life into a Jackass sequel for online profit and said, no, you don't get to wrap a low IQ public menace operation in the American flag of, I'm just asking questions. No, you were not just asking questions or practicing your free speech, Johnny Somali. You were doing clown crime with Wi-Fi. And this is where the Western brain short circuits, because we have been taught that the opposite of tyranny is permission, that the only way to prove you're free is to tolerate trashiness until the subway smells like a hot dumpster and every memorial looks like it survived spring break in hell. We've confused liberty with license. We've confused rights with immunity. We've confused the government should not control my conscience with nobody may stop me from acting like a feral exchange student in a civilized nation. That's not freedom. That is social decay in sunglasses. And notice what really angers many in the professional free speech crowd. It's not that an innocent man was punished for a belief. It is that a state somewhere said, you may not turn our civic life, our memorials, our shops, our streets, and our public peace into your content farm. Because once you admit that public order is real, then you have to admit something else that the modern West hates even more, which is that common space belongs to the people who have to live there after the camera guy leaves. Right? The shop owner has to sweep up your content. The grandmother has to walk past your filth. The taxpayer has to repair your chaos. The child has to learn from the adults whether the rules are real or are they just decorative and selectively enforced. Especially there are certain minorities given a free pass, like maybe Joe Biden's border policy. So when a country says, abuse your liberty, face punishment, that's not automatic. Abuse your liberty and you'll face punishment. That is not automatically authoritarian. Sometimes it is just a government still capable of blushing. Sometimes it's a nation that remembers public shame exists for a reason. Sometimes the most pro-human thing a state can say is, no, you don't get to turn everyone else's piece into your content farm. And frankly, if your entire political philosophy falls apart the moment that a judge tells a public degenerate to sit down for 6 months, then you don't have a theory of liberty. You have a fetish for disorder. And this is why you have to understand Lee Kuan Yew, because Lee Kuan Yew was not running a TED Talk. He was running a country. He was Singapore's prime minister from 1959 to 1990. And his basic theory of government was so simple that modern Western elites cannot hear it without developing a gluten allergy. If you want a country that works, you must govern it like you actually intend to keep it. His public philosophy centered on meritocracy, integrity, multiracial harmony, clean government. Not environmentalism in the spiritualized NGO sense where some white lady, liberal lady in a linen jumpsuit talks about reimagining urban flows. No, I mean clean as in no filth in the street, no corruption in the office, no rot in the culture, no smirking excuses for why every rule has to be optional for the most annoying person in the room. I mean, Singapore's own institutions, they still describe the model that way. Meritocracy, integrity, multiracialism, strong government, rule of law, clean government, care for the environment. In other words, Lee Kuan Yew believed that the state is not just a referee, it is a gardener. It pulls weeds. Now, that doesn't mean that every part of the Singapore model ports cleanly into America. We are not Singapore. We are bigger, looser, noisier, more disputatious, and we invented the pickup truck, which is a civilizational argument all by itself, right? I bring this up only to illustrate for you what it means to actually have laws that are legitimate moral laws, lawful, constitutional, and moral laws, which are enforced to the letter. Right? Lee Kuan Yew understood something that Americans used to understand, but I think many modern libertarians have forgotten. That order is not the enemy for liberty. Order is the precondition for liberty. You cannot have meaningful freedom in a filthy, corrupt, lawless, humiliated society. You don't have liberty when grandma is afraid to ride the train, when the Irina Zarutskas, when the refugees have think that they're safe in the United States and are brutally murdered on the subway. And then the person who did the murdering is going to be given a pass. When small businesses are being terrorized by prankers, when public property is treated like a scratch-off ticket for narcissists, and when the cost of every act of expression on our public monuments is paid by people who did not consent to participate, that's not freedom. That is externalized anarchy. That is anarcho-tyranny. It's a subscription model for social decline. And Lee's Singapore did not play that game. Now, some of you who are old like me, I'm 45, remember the chewing gum story. And most Americans, and I still remember them to this day as a young man, talking about this story like it was a joke. Ha, look at all these crazy Asians. They banned gum, chewing gum. Yeah, well, they banned the import of chewing gum with limited medical and dental exceptions because people were gumming up public equipment and making mass transit a sticky punishment box. So that is what a serious country does, agree with it or not. It identifies the low-level behavior that makes public life shabby, and it decides that the comfort of the normal person matters more than the petty appetites of the chronic nuisance. Same with littering. Singapore's National Environment Agency says high-rise littering can draw fines up to $2,000 for a first conviction. $4,000 for a second conviction, and $10,000 for the third and subsequent convictions, plus a corrective work order of up to 12 hours cleaning public areas. So do you hear the moral clarity in that? If you treat the country like a trash can, the country will make you pick it up in public, in a vest, while other people watch. Frankly, I think we need some of our city councils to discover this beautiful technology called consequences. Because what the modern soft-headed lefties and what libertarians in the United States often want is a magical society with clean streets, safe trains, low vandalism, high trust, free drugs, and no enforcement strong enough to upset the weirdest guy on Reddit. It's childish. It's like wanting abs without a diet, muscle without weights, or Chicago without corruption. It is a fantasy. Civilization is not self-executing. It has to be maintained, swept, defended. Who will build the roads? Oh boy. And occasionally, civilization has to look a disorderly person dead in the eyes and say, no, you don't get to do that here. Which brings us to this case. When I was a young man, I remember Quest Fanning's already jumped the gun on it. Yes, the famous Michael Fay case. This is the one that made America lose its mind back in, what was it, 1994? I think, 1994. This is...
In March, news a Singapore court had sentenced an 18-year-old American to 6 strokes with a bamboo cane swept round the world.
This is the first I've heard of it. I'll look into it.
And Michael Fay, who insists he was tortured into confessing that he spray-painted cars, was instantly caught in the middle of a raging debate.
Yes, says one. People should be responsible for their actions. Let the vandal take his beating, says another.
If anybody just put themselves in this position, I don't think anybody would want their kid or someone close to them to be beaten with a cane.
After President Clinton personally appealed for leniency, Singapore reduced the sentence from 6 lashes to 4. But that wasn't much consolation for Michael Fay.
I was bent over halfway. I mean, my back was bent in a 90-degree, and I was cuffed, buckled like this. And he's whipping it as he's going on each step. And
you hear the whip?
And yes, I can. Mm-hmm. And on the third step, he strikes, and he cuts open your buttocks. And there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain.
Throughout the incident, Singapore insisted its strict laws made it one of the safest nations on earth.
And they were right. Look at El Salvador. Fay was an American teenager living in Singapore. He pleaded guilty to vandalism and other offenses after a spree that involved 18 cars over 10 days. He was sentenced to 4 months in jail, a $3,500 fine, and 6 strokes of the cane, later reduced to 4 after the U.S. pressure. And the West's reaction was, oh my gosh, how barbaric, how primitive, how absolutely outrageous. As if smearing other people's property, destroying other people's property for fun, that's an advanced form of human flourishing. Now, let's be serious, guys. You could oppose caning, and reasonable people can make good arguments on that one. You can say the punishment was too harsh. That's fine. Make that argument. But what you cannot do, if you want to remain an adult, is pretend that the underlying moral logic is insane. The logic is actually very simple. If you chew through the bonds of civic trust, the state must repair them with something stronger than a tedious lecture about community. Right? We are very angry, and we will write you a letter. Because every government that refuses to punish a low-level public predation is quietly telling decent people, you clean it up. You absorb the cost. You live with the ugliness. You explain to your kid why the rules are only for the docile who will take it sitting down. See, this is the fatal confusion of modern permissive politics. It talks big about compassion, but it is often cruel to the law-abiding person who no one is representing. It's gentle with the nuisance and hard on the normal. It is anarcho-tyranny. It's forgiving to the chaotic and indifferent to the person who just wants to walk down a clean sidewalk without dodging human madness like he is in a live-action Mario Kart. It's like, if you go to church, that spreads COVID-19. if you go to a Black Lives Matter protest, that doesn't spread COVID-19. We all remember, if you're burning down someone's property, that's okay. Right, but conservative in public, haram. That's against the law. Actions. When will you learn that your actions have consequences? Amy J. Easley just got off work. Good morning, Amy. So this is where I part company with the thin-blooded, post-border, Cato in a food court version of libertarianism that wants to say property rights are sacred, social order matters, government should protect infrastructure, public space should be safe, but also the moment you enforce those things with teeth, suddenly every sheriff is Mussolini. No, a liberty that cannot defend itself against decay is not liberty. It's an evacuation plan. Real freedom requires a moral ecosystem. It's true. It requires expectations, standards, and penalties for people who take what belongs to everyone and turn it into garbage. So the lesson from Johnny Somali, from Lee Kuan Yew, from the gun laws of Singapore, and Michael Fay, litter enforcement, it's not that we should become a copy of Singapore or even start caning teenagers between innings at the ballpark. The lesson is that a nation has the right, even the duty, to defend its common life. Your liberties exist inside of a civilization. They're not a license to degrade it. If you spit gum on the sidewalk, if you smear filth on the train, if you harass people for clicks, if you destroy property, if you deface memorials, or you turn public space into your toilet or ego, or a toilet of your ego, then you're not a rebel, you're a parasite with a ring light. And the moment that serious libertarians relearn this, the moment that we stop apologizing for punishment that defends ordinary people, like El Salvador and Nayib Bukele, the moment that they say clean streets, safe trains, intact infrastructure, and basic civic decency are not negotiable, they win the argument. Because normal people do not want chaos wrapped in theory. They want a country. They want their kids safe, their streets clean, their property respected, their memorials unmolested. Hell, even Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks started leaning right a little bit on criminal justice after she was sexually assaulted by a homeless person on the streets in California. Thank you. We're going to California here in a minute. Civilization. Liberty with a backbone. Thank you to Joel Ledamore, who wants to unlock that sweet, sweet bonus content for you today. If we raise $100 today on the Wake Up America show, then we will unlock today's mini documentary. We've been creating little 5-minute mini documentaries about heroes of the American Revolution, and people have been absolutely loving them. If you want to see today's, there's 2 ways. Head to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com this morning during the live show. And click here up top, 250 years of liberty from 1776 to today. We're celebrating 250 years of liberty, and maybe you are here at home. Many people love the beverage cups that we put on our store. The Boston Tea Party mug has been quite popular, quite successful. But I can't get over the fact that Jimmy Joe Patty, and I might have to go approve your comment so it will appear on the website here. I wasn't prepared for this live read. We're forlibertyshop.com. No man. Now you wonder how long I'll be faithful. The answer is perfectly clear. I'm gonna find you forever and ever. Forever and ever. Amen. Sorry, guys. I can't find it. I can't get I wanted to read you Jimmy Joe Patty's review. Maybe it is on the site. Maybe somebody else approved it. Oh, we just got Byron Norris's. Check it out. Look at that handsome man. Byron Norris right there with that. See that beautiful embroidery on that polo? So apparently Jimmy Joe Patty was wearing his polo that he had received, and some British filmmaker or documentarian saw that he was wearing the polo with the 250th anniversary logo on it, and they stopped and interviewed him for a documentary because they saw his shirt. So you never know. You might be the star of a British documentary if you get our patriotic polo. I think Matt Unruh needs one. Guys, if you had fat boobs like I did about 3 months ago, get the American flag polo shirt in black. But if you're like me now 3 months later and I finally crossed the Rubicon, I went from 244 pounds, I'm down to 228 this morning. It's the lowest I've been in a while. Get the white one. Because even if somebody sprays you with a garden hose, if you're working outside or maybe you're sweating too much and you're like me and then your boobs start to show through, the white one, you'll be totally fine. If you're like me and you're finally getting your reps in, I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever. Amen. Rest in peace, Randy Travis. No, he's alive. He's alive. Oh. Sorry. He's alive. It was a joke. Good God. We love us some Randy Travis here, guys. Make sure you visit the Liberty Shop this morning, guys. Let's unlock that bonus content today. Guys, what do you say? Support the For Liberty Network. Do it for freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching the Wake Up America show. Click the like button. In 20 minutes, Camelia Peterson is going to come on. She's going to talk to us about Missouri Senate voting to abolish the income tax last night, which means that Governor Mike Kehoe signs it, which means that it goes to the voters. We'll talk about that with her. And at 8:30 this morning, we've got Austin Padgett. It's going to be a phenomenal show. So make sure you don't miss a single minute. Come back if you have to. Set an appointment. Click the like button and follow. And we hope you'll be a regular guest. 5 days a week is the Wake Up America show schedule. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central.
What were the
it was flirty. That was flirty.
And that was when? About what year was it?
I mean, that was through, we've heard that throughout.
Senator, you just said, thank you so much. I want to clarify because in the beginning,
I know we'll go back there.
In the beginning, you said when you first heard these rumors a few weeks ago, that's when you called him. Then you said you've heard these rumors for years. So which one is it, Senator?
So I heard rumors of him being flirty.
And that wasn't an issue enough for you to not trust him to watch your kids or be close with him?
Because, you hear this, and then when you're close to somebody and you know his wife, you see this. You see that relationship. You know that, it maybe just isn't true.
Have you asked him about it prior to this few weeks?
I asked him about it a few weeks ago when it started coming up online.
Yes. Why wouldn't you ask him about it if you're running his campaign, sir?
Running his campaign, and he didn't know?
It was flirty.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be fun. This has been the story that keeps on giving. Normally, when we cover stories on the Wake Up America show, you figure, you do it for a day. The news cycle dies. But this one, well, this is a black hole that just keeps spinning. In the deep vacuum of space, a black hole is formed when something massive collapses in on itself so completely that not even light can escape. First, the star burns hot. It's bright, impressive, full of energy, full of promise, full of the kind of cosmic self-confidence that makes lesser objects orbit around it. Then comes instability. The core fails. Gravity takes over. The thing that once radiated power now becomes a dense, hungry pit of collapse, bending everything near it, distorting space, pulling in matter, swallowing companions, and leaving only debris, panic, and a scientific community standing a safe distance away saying, "My God, look at the damage field on that thing." And ladies and gentlemen, if you listen closely, if you tilt your head just right, if you turn down the NPR voices in your skull and you let the universe speak, you can hear it whispering one name into the cosmos. Swalwell. Because Eric Swalwell is the black hole. This is where this story starts. A man who once burned hot in the Democratic galaxy, full of TV hits, impeachment drama, governor buzz, moral lectures to me personally, Austin Peterson, and that very specific Washington radiance that says, "I have a media team and a conscience rented by the hour." And then the core gave way. Reuters reports that Swalwell resigned after multiple women accused him of sexual misconduct, including a fifth woman who publicly came forward, while law enforcement investigations were reportedly being filed in Manhattan and Los Angeles. So that is not just a scandal. This is a political singularity. The collapse is so total that it does not just destroy the man at the center. It begins warping every object in his orbit. And who do we find getting dragged toward the event horizon? Ruben Gallego.
And saying that a lot of people spend time with this man, and it seems impossible that they didn't have some sense of what was going on. I think there are a lot of people Congressman Swalwell and saying a lot of you spend a lot of time with him and haven't really had a sense that something is going on.
I mean, again, the man led a double life, and for many, more than 20 congressmen, people that have served with him for a long time, we had no clue. And look, unlike whatever's happening with Jeffrey Epstein, because as soon as we knew, we all asked for accountability, and we'll continue to ask for accountability. And victims deserve justice.
Oh, I would not start talking about Jeffrey Epstein if I were you, sir. Yusa, Husa, Misa? Misa, Yusa. Who's on first? Who? Oh, no. This is not some random moon rock that bumped into a guy at a fundraiser and floated off. No. This is a close object, a visible object. You didn't even need a telescope to see between them. This is an object with enough mass of his own to think that he could maintain a stable orbit. But that is the thing about black holes. You don't have to commit the original sin to get sucked into the consequences. You just have to stand too close to the collapse and tell the public, relax. This star is perfectly stable. News from the States reported Gallego pulled his endorsement only after the reporting landed. The New York Post reported he later admitted he had heard rumors about Swalwell's flirtatious behavior, but he did not confront him. He heard rumors, did not confront him, defended him anyway. Then we got the usual Washington physics lesson. I messed up. I'm human. I trusted him. No, that is not an explanation. That's a billing code for political malpractice. The whole reason people elect senators is because they're supposed to detect instability before the detonation, not after half the galaxy has been sucked into a dense little ball of excuses. So yes, Swalwell is the black hole. He is the collapsed star of democratic self-righteousness, so dense with scandal that everything around him starts looking bent, warped, and contaminated by proximity. And Gallego is the first big object we can already see getting pulled towards the center, because the question is no longer just what Swalwell did. The question for him, who mistook proximity to power for proof of character and now wants to be treated like an innocent astronomer when he was acting more like a ground crew for the launch. So this is the news story. It's no longer just the fall of one Democrat, but the way his collapse is starting to expose the men who floated near him. Absorbed his light, and then swore to the public there was nothing to worry about right up until the moment that the universe opened and swallowed them whole. Now, let's talk about the Ruben Gallego the way Democrats never wanted him talked about, which is a character story rather than a biography brochure written by Nancy Pelosi, because on paper, he's exactly the kind of man that the party wants to sell. He's Marine, Harvard, Latino, working class origin story. He's cable ready, Senate winner, potential future star, maybe the president. The packaging for Gallego was perfect. It was immaculate. The problem is that the public keeps getting burned when it opens the box. Carrie Lake went after Gallego's character during that 2024 Senate race, including over the fact that Gallego's marriage ended just weeks before his son was born. The AP reported during the debate that Lake said voters should look at his character and his background. The AP also reported later she hyped the unsealing of divorce records as a major scandal. Now, here's the important thing if you want to survive a fact check on this story. The unsealed records did not show abuse or infidelity. So let's not make anything up here because you don't need to. The cleanest hit on Gallego is still plenty ugly. He did file for divorce while his wife was nearly 9 months pregnant. That became a real political issue. The NRSC attacked him over it in 2023. They kept hammering it in 2024. And you don't have to invent a soap opera to ask a very simple question. What kind of man does that? And what kind of party looks at that story, shrugs, and says, yes, perfect, let's elevate him to the Senate? Because this is the part that Democrats never want to discuss. They want to argue process. They want to argue privacy now. They want to argue Republicans are being mean. Politics, they're being mean. Voters still get to look at conduct like this and draw conclusions about character. And on Gallego, the character problem didn't start this week. It's just that this week, the black hole got closer. The Swalwell implosion has forced people to go back through Gallego's judgment, his alliances, his instincts, and the kind of men that he defends until he can no longer afford to. So this is why this story has grown legs. It's not just, hey, his friend got in trouble. Austin, why are you talking about this for the third day? Because this is now becoming a much bigger scandal. Now, let's talk about what's verified, because on the internet, everybody's spraying gasoline in every direction, and I want to know what's real. Well, let's remember our Mark Twain and get the facts straight first, and then we can distort them as we please. So there are fresh viral claims that a former female staffer rejected a sexual advance, reported it, and was fired in retaliation. There are claims that colleagues called him the troll for being creepy and degrading towards women. There are demands for a full investigation. Here's the truth as of right now. I haven't found any reliable on-the-record reporting that confirms the newest claims as established facts. So be careful before you run with those. Don't blow up your credibility. Maintain and keep your characters easier kept than recovered, I think Jefferson said. But what I did find is that Representative Mike Lawler is saying that Gallego needs to release all of his communications with Swalwell, including texts, emails, signal chats, photos, and videos. So this is official, and this matters because even if some of the wilder internet claims are not yet proven, the direction of this story is still awful for Gallego. So his problem is not whether a given viral allegation turns it out to be true tomorrow. His problem is that the public now has permission to re-examine him as a man, not just as the Democratic product that they churn out, right? And once this happens, everything is going to start getting interpreted through a darker lens. His defense of Swalwell suddenly starts to look worse. His claims of surprise start to look worse. His character questions from 2024 look worse. Carrie Lake suddenly looks like if she was prescient. She starts to look pretty good. So the smart way to attack him is this. Even without the internet rumor mill, there's already enough here to demand scrutiny, enough to ask what he knew about that black hole Swalwell and when did he know it, enough to ask why he defended Swalwell, enough to ask why he admitted he heard rumors but did nothing, enough to ask why Democrats keep handing national promotion to men who require this much explaining after the fact. That's how you box him in without giving an opening to cry smear. Stick to what's already verifiable, and it is still devastating on this guy. So the Democrat black hole is not just Eric Swalwell. It is the system on the left that creates Eric Swalwell's, protects Eric Swalwell's, and is now losing other men to Eric Swalwell's gravity. Swalwell's collapse is pulling Ruben Gallego in because Gallego helped to validate him. Gallego's older character questions are now being dragged back to the surface because people no longer trust the party's filter. And this is the bigger story. Democrats losing credibility from every single candidate they rolled out. Not in every Democrat is a monster cartoonish way, in a much more damaging way, right? This is accumulation. This is pattern. This is why the Democratic Party, despite how unpopular Republicans are, I'm fairly certain the last I checked that the Democrats were far worse. The party of believe women keeps needing a newspaper to tell it what to believe. The party of character keeps running men who need character explainers. The party of accountability keeps discovering accountability only after the article drops. The lawyers arrive and the camera crews set up outside the office, and suddenly we need accountability. But what makes Ruben Gallego such a useful centerpiece for this show is that he's not some old man shuffling out of public life. He's exactly the kind of man Democrats would like to put on a national poster for the next 10 years. So this is why this story matters. If he was just another damaged hill creature, swamp creature, nobody would care about this story, right? But he's supposed to be their future. And if the future of the party, of the Democratic Party, looks like a man who defends a friend under a cloud, admits he heard rumors, fails to confront him, and only rediscovers his moral compass when the thing becomes publicly toxic, then the party's problem is deeper than just one scandal. It is a bench problem for the Democrats, a judgment problem. So yeah, investigate, demand the text. Let's get his emails. Let's get his signal chats. And don't forget the bigger point in Ruben Gallego as he swirls the drain, that the larger black hole is already here. Eric Swalwell collapsed first. Ruben Gallego is now feeling the pull. Tony Gonzalez follows them down. The more that the Democrats are insisting that this is just unfortunate timing, the more they look like a party that cannot tell the difference between a standard bearer and a time bomb until the blast hits him in the face. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Hope you're having a good morning this morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. We'll be glad and grateful to have you come back and join us live every Monday through Friday. That's 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time.
I want to turn around to one guy and say, Barack, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I feel like he should be standing to the right and I should be standing to the left. Hey, you done this look at Barack? Anyway.
Does he look like Barack?
As they say, you've done good, fella.
Well, you know, I tried.
Does he look like Barack? Well, you know, he looks... Do they all look the same, Mr. Pryden? The people running this country into the ground always assume you're just going to sit there and take it. Higher taxes, weaker borders, more control, less freedom, fewer ways out. But you don't have to be the guy who waits until the doors are locked to start looking for the exit. Smart families prepare early. They diversify their assets, and they protect their future. And they build options outside the reach of a government that gets a little crazier every election cycle. That's why I want you to check out our friends at expatmoney.com/Austin. Mikkel Thorup and his team help freedom-focused people secure second residencies and even second citizenship, so you're not stuck with one plan, one government, and one point of failure. Actually, I know somebody who went to Singapore. Go get Mikkel's free Plan B residencies and instant citizenship special report today at expatmoney.com. That's EXPAT money.com/Austin. And thank you to Expat Money for sponsoring the Wake Up America show. We are glad and grateful to have you here. All right, we haven't hit the bonus content just yet, guys, but go ahead and go shopping during the commercial break. When we get back, Camelia Peterson joins us to talk about Missouri Senate voting last night to abolish Missouri's income tax. And she's got some news, some tea. She's going to spill it. Don't go away. We got an incredible show for you in the second hour. So Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
In a city where businesses never sleep, the technology still crashes. When technology turns criminal, they send up the signal. He's not a myth, and he's definitely not your nephew who knows computers. He installs, he protects, he backs it up, he keeps your business online and out of trouble. Managed IT, security, cloud, support that actually answers the phone. Layer 8 tech. When your network breaks, he wakes. Call Drew before your tech needs a rescue signal.
George Washington spent 8 years making sure nobody knew where he was. Troop movements, secret dispatches. The man was a ghost. So when a barista leaned out a window and asked for his exact location in exchange for points they called stars, he looked at his flag and said, "I've already got my stars. 13 of them." Keep your dignity and your location intact. Grab a box of Washington's Revolutionary Roast at 4libertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Jesse, hey, just calm down. It's okay.
You're right.
It's okay.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
I just need one of these.
Pills? You mean you really are taking drugs?
I need them.
Jesse, give me those.
I need them, Zach. I have to sing.
Jesse, you can't sing tonight.
Yes, I can. I'm so excited. I'm so
Jesse.
I'm scared too, but I'm also excited. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Last night, the Missouri Senate voted to abolish Missouri's income tax. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. Because now it heads to the governor's desk where he will sign it. I'm so excited. But then it heads to the voters. And I'm so scared. Joining us now, hopefully, to make us feel a little better, to give us a white pill that I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to the white pills, not the black pills. Hopefully not a black pill. Camellia, welcome to the show.
I'm only addicted to this black stuff.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I am your host, Austin Peterson. And that is Camellia Peterson, and we are good friends. And she's been fighting tooth and nail to abolish the income tax here in the state of Missouri. We've been fighting for a long, long time. Camellia, I was a handsome young man 10 years ago when we started lowering the income tax rates.
Yes.
But the people who say it can't be done should not get in the way of those who are doing it. Right, CJ?
100%. You have the keyboard warriors, which don't get me wrong, like, you know, I love me some happy keyboard warriors, but all the nattering nabobs of negativity out there who are saying that we can't get it done, we're going to show you a little differently.
Or the ones who are like, they see that news and they're like, does that mean they're going to increase the sales taxes?
You know what cracks me up is that people, when all these fear-mongering talking points about, oh, they're going to increase your sales taxes 15, 20, 30%. You know what they don't think about is that, you know, politics is really about, like everything else, is about self-preservation. And all of these people want to get reelected. So do you think they're going to like stick it to you with a 30% sales tax? Because are you going to reelect them if they do that? So, you know, I think that I'm not saying we don't need to watch our government, and you can bet that I will be, because, you know, but I think we can also be assured that they're not out to do something that would be to their own detriment.
There's a lot of angles to this. We have to inform the public about this bill. I think the language that's going to hit the ballot, Camelia, is going to be pretty confusing. And I was talking to Chandler Haynes the other day about how the GOP is going to try and sell the income tax abolishment to Missourians. And you know, the idea is keep it simple so that most people don't get confused, especially by the ballot language. So what are we voting? Yes or no? Is there a double negative in there that's going to confuse everybody?
No, it's we're voting yes. And actually the ballot language, if they don't change it, right, if the courts don't step in and mess with things, it is not bad. Like it basically says, shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to phase out the individual income tax based on revenue growth, reduce personal property and other local taxes when local revenue increases, and modify sales and use tax to eliminate income tax and protect local funding for public schools and other purposes. Because, you know, we are all very concerned about the public schools.
Oh, yes, we're very concerned about them. We are extremely concerned.
But no, so I think that people are going to look at that and they're going to see, do you want to phase out the individual income tax? And they're going to be like, yeah, especially when there's a way in there to also dial back the property taxes. Heck yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. So yes, I like that that we get to have a positive campaign instead of a negative campaign, because if it was a vote no, then there's always the implied negative. Vote no, get everybody mad. No, we get to be like, yes, vote for liberty. Yes, vote for, I mean, nobody cares about liberty, but vote to help, vote for your pocketbook, vote for
protect your paycheck.
Yes, to protect your paycheck. We can do it, Rosie the Riveter. Let's do it.
And we are going to think about the young people and young families in the future. Can we think about the kids? Because I want to think about the kids.
Yes, think about the children. That's what we do. Yeah, vote yes for your kids.
For a brighter future for young Missourians.
Yeah, we got to make some propaganda posters. Vote yes.
No, like, here's the thing, though. I don't know if you've seen these. So AFP has been doing a ton of door knocking, and we basically have an army of homeschool bros down in Southwest Missouri. And so, like, we post, we have kids and other, like, I say kids, but they're, you know, high schoolers and some college kids who are working for us all across the state and knocking doors on this. And the Democrats get so mad when we post pictures with these happy, young, smiling faces, and they are just salty that we've got the kids.
Oh, God, I love it. Man, this Missouri has got such great activists. You and I sometimes we kind of bitch about some of the grassroots because they're you know, more short-term oriented, and we're trying to do that. We're looking at this longitudinal plan. But then there are the people like that just blow you away, and you got to focus sometimes on the really good ones, because we do have some phenomenal Missouri activists, and we have, for people who don't see the long game, we have fought the income tax. The state income tax in Missouri used to be much higher. I think it was 9% at one point, and then we got it down to before. So we were doing what Grover Norquist always talked about, because he always said, I want to shrink government down to the size to where I could fit it in a bathtub and then drown it in the bath. And I'm like,
yes.
And that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yes. And here's the thing. We've been like doing those incremental steps down, but we are at a point in this country with other states that are looking this, and they're like, there is a race to zero. So it's not good enough to tippy-toe our way along, down the primrose path and getting to zero. It's time to ramp it up and get there a whole lot quicker before we get left behind.
Amy J. Easley's got a tip. She says, here's a slogan that we can use for on the Democrats. Make the rich pay their fair share. Tax their spending. Yeah.
Yes. I'm here to tell you, people are like, oh, it's good. I'm like, no, if you tax services, who disproportionately uses services? Rich people, because they can afford to. So, yes, we are going to close the loopholes that benefit the rich.
There you go. We're going after those big rich guys.
And don't get me wrong, I love wealthy people.
Yeah, I love wealthy people and I love poor people, as long as it's not poor people who think that being poor is the most important thing in the world and want to build the whole system around poor people. No.
And you owe them.
Yeah, and you owe them. No, we don't owe you just for being poor, but we're going to try and help you to not be poor.
Yes.
We're going to follow the advice of Benjamin.
Teach them to fish.
Yeah, we're going to follow. Yeah, we're all going down fish. Guess what? We're going to Bennett Springs, baby. Taneycomo. We're going to Merrimack Springs. I'm going to teach you how to catch trout fish, and then I'm going to teach you how to smoke it. And we're going to smoke it out our back door. Oh, my God, Camelia, I know you've got some, tea to spill, but so do I. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I'll have to show it to you privately, this project that I'm working on at the house.
I was like, is this about smoking fish? Because
no,
I'm really excited about smoking fish.
Yeah, kind of, actually. Smoking something. No, just kidding. Not that.
Okay.
No. Not that. Camelia, I want to know what the tea is. What's the tea?
Well, yeah, so here's the deal. Whenever this came to the floor, everybody was on tenterhooks yesterday, because I'm posting things online because I'm expecting them to come to the floor with it in the Senate by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we dragged on all day. And so I'm getting feedback from the senators that they're working on it behind the scenes and there's a negotiating going on, because we fully expected this to go to the very last day of Senate of session. So because of the filibuster, and that they would have to call do the nuclear option, blah, 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 blah. But apparently there was a deal in the works. So we had a senator who was out sick. We had one who had a longstanding commitment that he couldn't break and didn't know that they were going to vote on it last night. And then we had 3, I guess one of them, you could call him a Republican, but he's really a Democrat, and he's leaving this year. But anyway, we had 3 Republicans that voted no with the Democrats. And to listen, there actually wasn't a ton of floor debate, but the 2 of the people who voted no was really disappointing. And we are going to name names. And I really like Mike Moon, but his approach to this was just off. It didn't make a lot of sense, and he was trying to put things in the Constitution that didn't make sense. But then you had Senator Nicola, supposedly a grassroots diehard conservative, who got on the Senate floor and said, you know what? Income tax is the best way to tax. That's the way we should tax people, is income tax, because that's the way they do it in the Bible. I was like, what are you talking about?
What? Yes, yes, Jesus' famous tax accountant and economist, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
He was like, you're 10%. I'm like, oh,
10%.
man, come on.
Dude, the government is not the church. What are you talking about?
Yes.
Who is this guy? Who is this clown?
He's from the over on the KC, South KC area.
Oh,
and
not my South KC. Who was it?
I was flabbergasted. Joe Nicola.
No.
And,
I'm going to call my dad.
I give people a lot of leeway, but here's the thing. When you come out and flat out say that, I'm like, okay, all the cards are on the table now. And there's just we're not mincing words now, because that's unacceptable. That's not conservative at all. This is not conservative.
Yeah, dude, what are you doing? It's the communists are like, Jesus was a socialist. Let me tell you why the Bible confirms why Jesus wanted to steal from the rich to give to the poor. No, that's Robin Hood, you idiots. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say, and there was one other Republican who was there in the building as my senator, and she chose to just not vote. She chose to not take a stand either way.
Oh, my God, dude, no.
Like,
No.
I don't understand this.
Well, you know what? You know what the Bible does say? That there is a special place in hell reserved for those who
About
sit on the
lukewarm?
fence. Yeah, the ones who, if you are lukewarm, I will spit you out. I think the Bible, Jesus wasn't a socialist, but I'm pretty sure he hated the fence sitters. Well,
Yeah.
good for you. Congratulations, Camellia.
Thank
You
you.
got it across
And-
the finish line.
And hey, shout out to Senator Curtis Trent because he handled this in the Senate, and he is probably one of the most brilliant people in our state Senate, and is just a really great guy and knows this issue inside and out.
God bless Curtis Trent. God bless Camellia Peterson. And God damn the socialists. I'm Austin Peterson. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. We're glad and thankful to have you here, where we can say curse words like that because it's on Rumble. And if I'm going to hell, I'll see Drew Van Runkle there, who just dropped a buck in the tip jar. Hi, Drew. No, that will get you points in heaven, my friend.
Hey, Drew.
One Rumble rant is one forgiveness from Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Pretty sure that was in the Latter-day Saints Bible.
Oh, you think?
First Rothbardians, second Palestinians, and fourth Paultardians.
Just as long as we don't go to the section where you can't drink coffee.
No, that's right. It's coffee, it's caffeine, it's hot drinks, Camellia. So
Hot drinks.
So no tea for you either. And don't even think about warming up that Mormon sody, that dirty sody. You know how it is. Hey, is Dave Griffith, is my good friend David Griffith, who I love and admire, is he trying to pull a fast one on us with his total boomer luxury communism move and this whole let's get rid of property taxes for veteran seniors in the state of Missouri? Because I just so happened to look up the makeup of the Senate and the House, and it turns out there are a lot of senior citizen veterans who happen to be. Now, I am with Milton Friedman, and I say get rid of any tax anytime. But, a lot of people who talk about how much they love the taxes in the schools and all that stuff, suddenly want to give themselves a nice little tax break. But I don't want to pay any proper taxes for those schools. I may not be a veteran. So I guess you serve your country, you get a little more of a tax break. Is that where we're gonna go these days for the boomers? Is it total?
Well,
I'm just teasing a little bit, but also kind of like there's a question here. There's a question here, I think, of total boomer luxury communism. They're the richest generation in Missouri, and they're going to de-tax themselves too. How nice? Must be nice. Control the reins of government.
Right? Well, and here's the thing: is sorry, we're going to speak in generalities here.
No,
but boomers got us to where we are in this economy, and it is time for us to fix it.
There it goes.
Like that's what we're doing. We are fixing it.
We just lost all the boomers.
We are learning from their mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're probably going to make mistakes too, but we are learning from their mistakes, and we're not just going to say, oh, well, it's just the way it is. We ought to do things the way we've always done it. No, we're going to fix it. Now, when you talk about veterans and tax breaks, like this is very popular, right?
Yes.
However, there are different kinds of bills, and I would be more inclined to be in favor of the versions that require 100% disabled veterans to be allowed not to have to not have to pay property tax. Now, we all want to not have to pay property tax. I'm more inclined to be okay with that than I am, because here's the thing, like you can be considered a veteran and not have done a day of service in deployment anywhere. So, you know what I'm saying? So you're just you're no better than any of us. I know that's unpopular, but
I know that this is going to cause a riot, but what if we do it if you got the Bronze Star or above? So if you're a Bronze Star winner, you can literally fight your way into freedom in the United States. You can fight and say if you're a Medal of Honor winner in this country, no income tax. Then everybody, think about this. What if for service, it's like Starship Troopers, service guarantees citizenship. What if in this country you could earn privileges like you serve in the military and you get at least a Bronze Star in battle, then no property tax. Silver Star, no property tax, no sales tax. You win the Medal of Honor in this country, then God bless it, no income tax, no sales tax, no payroll taxes, just tax-free life. And then everybody be trying to join the military. Smart.
I would rather positively incentivize something than negatively with the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
But But here's the thing. So maybe we also include people who have been in active combat, right? I mean, because we do appreciate the people who are willing to step up and know that there's a possibility that they will, whether they like it or not, be put in harm's way by the very fact that they've joined the military. But yes, I think maybe people who have seen active combat maybe should get a little more.
BB for Liberty says playing trumpet in the Air Force band is not equal to fighting in Afghanistan. Sorry, not sorry.
Yes, I mean it's true.
We are. I mean, if we weren't going to hell for anything else, we're certainly going to hell for that. But Camellia, I know you don't know what to do with me, so thank you for putting up with my nonsense and shenanigans. I'm just trying to have fun.
Well, I mean, there is much seriousness and angst in this world, and if we cannot have a little fun and have a little joke, then what
exactly.
I
don't. As the great communist leader Emma Goldman once said, "Red Emma, I don't want a revolution without dancing." All right, well, Camellia. Yes. Hey, what else is going on in the world that you're keen to discuss, Camellia? Have you been following anything on the national side that you're particularly keen to discuss, or have you just been laser focused on all the state issues?
I mean, somewhat laser focused. I'm trying to think. There was, I will say, like on I don't know where we're at exactly now on the Iran front. I guess the ceasefire is still going, but apparently there have been some concerns that that may fall apart. So I think there have been a lot of statements going out saying, look, we really don't make this a forever war, right? I mean, so, have the negotiations, don't make it a forever war. But, also there's a lot of talk right now too, because with just filing, it's in tax day. And so turned in your taxes and everything. And so there's a lot of talk about the working families tax cuts, which, I don't know how to tell if I got a bigger refund this year because of that or not. Like, I just don't know. But I know that people did get bigger refunds this year. Also, I paid for other people's babies to have a little savings account. So we do a little socialism too. Yeah. But, there was some good stuff in there too.
I'd rather do that than go to war. But I also recognize that. Sorry, I get all these notifications blowing up. I also recognize that you can't have liberty without order. And some people in the world, we want to be left alone, but they just won't leave us alone, Camellia. So we have to kill them. We have to kill them. We have to kill them. We have to bomb their cities into submission until there is a total subjugation. And the people who chant death to America are fucking dead themselves. Yeah, bitch. I heard you telling me you're going to kill me. Yeah, I wasn't going to let them violate my nap, Camellia. And that's the way of the world. And isn't that really how the world works?
I mean, I do think that mankind, there will always be people who are inherently violent and they will take advantage of you in any way that they can. Yes. So, while I think we should not stoop to that level, should show restraint. We should also be ready to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
So
From
the
people who say they'll
kill
us.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Tell me you're going to kill me. I'm going to kill you first.
Oh, geez. Are we back to speech is violence?
Speech is not violence, but Camellia, okay. If I go any longer on this segment, somebody's going to do it. Austin Padgett is coming up to talk about where Dave Smith and Thomas Massey and Tom Woods are all going off I don't know. Is it Israel derangement syndrome? Is it something else? I have to say, my wayward Ron Paulians have really lost the plot, Camellia. So that's about what we're about to discuss. You seem to be nodding and shaking your head.
Nuance is dead. There's no middle ground anymore. They got to go. What is either JDS or TDS?
But if you disagree, Camellia, that means you want to kill babies. Chase Oliver, noted abortionist, Chase Oliver, the Libertarian Party's last thing. They're concerned about the babies. They don't want you to bomb the babies. They want to rip them apart limb from limb in the womb. Yeah. That's the babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that with Austin Padgett. So stick around, Camellia, if you have time. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day. We appreciate you very much. See you Tuesday.
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy. Dangerous.
Stinks. In one word, would I use dope? Nope.
These kids are right.
Drugs will hurt your mind, your body, and your life. Hi, I'm Brandon Tartikoff, chairman of NBC Entertainment, and I've got a hit idea for the new fall season. Don't do drugs.
There's no hope with dope.
When I wake up in the morning and my longest out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I get my books and I give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It's alright, 'cause I'm saved by the bell. Really? Okay. Alright, I didn't think it was that bad. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson, and this is the only Liberty morning show that ain't gonna lie to you, that ain't gonna tell you people who hate you are just misunderstood. We stand for the West here on the Wake Up America show because we believe the West is the best, except for like France and the UK and Australia and some of those other poverty-stricken countries. Did you guys hear that Mississippi is now richer than people in the UK? If you're a Mississippian, you're now richer than the people in the UK. Hold on, I got to get the actual numbers here. Oh God, I was on a tweet spree this morning. Hold on, here we go. Dave Chappelle, come on in, you broke mother. New analysis reveals it's all right, 'cause I'm saved by the bell. Come on in, you broke mother effers. New analysis reveals Brits thought that the UK ranked 7th against U.S. states in income per person. It actually ranked 51st, meaning that they thought if the United Kingdom ranked 7th against every U.S. state in terms of income per person, they're poorer than Mississippi. You're a Brit entering someone's home, Mississippi. Come on in, you broke mother. 51st. Now, are you going to hear those things anywhere else, or are you only going to hear them here on the Wake Up America show? Are you going to hear Austin Padgett on any other shows today, or are you going to hear him here on the Wake Up America show? Only here. Don't go anywhere, guys. Austin Padgett joins us to talk about the right-wing civil war over Thomas Massey, Dave Smith, and whether some libertarians would rather punish Trump than stop the Democrats. And while you're with us, hit forlibertyshop.com over the break. Support the show. Stock up. Help to keep this thing moving. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
The left in America tells us not to have kids to save the planet, but in Cuba, they stopped having kids because the state destroyed the earth.
Collectivism doesn't create justice. It creates shortages, corruption, and power for the few. I've not just seen it, I've lived it. My family escaped it. Now, the same failed ideas are being sold to a new generation. I'm here to expose the lie and defend liberty. From Cuba to Argentina to the United States, the freedom movement is rising. Cafecito Libre is the exile voice of economic truth. Cafecito Libre, premiering March 3rd as part of the For Liberty Network, only on Rumble.
George Washington spent 8 years making sure nobody knew where he was. Troop movements, secret dispatches. The man was a ghost. So when a barista leaned out a window and asked for his exact location in exchange for points they called stars, he looked at his flag and said, "I've already got my stars. 13 of them. Keep your dignity and your location intact. Grab a box of Washington's Revolutionary Roast at forlibertyshop.com.
In a city where businesses never sleep, the technology still crashes. When technology turns criminal, they send up the signal. He's not a myth, and he's definitely not your nephew who knows computers. He installs, he protects, he backs it up, he keeps your business online and out of trouble. Managed IT, security, cloud, support that actually answers the phone. Layer 8 tech. When your network breaks, he wakes. Call Drew before your tech needs a rescue signal. This summer isn't about sunscreen and safe spaces. It's about liberty, laughs, and looking like a red, white, and righteous badass. Welcome to the Summer of Freedom collection. Beach towels bold enough to trigger a liberal arts professor. Tank tops louder than a 4th of July fireworks finale. And mugs that scream, "Don't tread on my caffeine." Whether you're storming the sandbar or just grilling like George Washington with a Bluetooth speaker, this is the gear that lets everyone know. You're not here to play woke. You're here to play cornhole with conviction. So crack open a cold one, fire up the freedom, and rock the merch that makes communists cry. The summer of freedom is here, and it's absolutely unapologetic.
What do we do? We'd be better off if Kamala Harris was president today. At this point, that's not that tough of an argument. And part, at least for me, of the best, strongest argument that we'd be better off with Kamala Harris is just that the whole resistance would still be the resistance. And you would, you know, in a kind of, I don't know, maybe counterintuitive way, sometimes the best thing.
I think it's maybe more counterintuitive, double secret intuitive, and intuiting that no one could ever intuit. The type of intuiting that only a Sneeko fan could really admire. It's like a crisscross applesauce. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here. Joining us now, Austin Padgett, another Austin P that everybody has been talking about and throwing tomatoes and lettuce at for being right about everything. Austin Padgett is here. He is talking about the fracture on the right over Thomas Massie, Donald Trump, Dave Smith, and whether punish Republicans, even if Democrats benefit, is principled pressure or political suicide. Good morning, Austin. Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. It's nice to see you again.
Good morning, Austin. Good to have the Austin Peas back together again.
Austin Peas back together again. No one could stop us. We're back again. We're discussing similar things. We come from the same movement. We're from the Ron Paul wing of the vast right-wing conspiracy, as Rush Limbaugh would have described it, which I see myself as a member of the liberty movement, but I also see myself as a member of a much larger push against democratic socialism, communism, leftism, Islamism, you know, basically Thomas Jefferson's eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the minds of man. I'm with that crew. I'm with the Jeffersonians. But
right up to the Tea Party, including the Tea Party.
Yeah, including the Tea Party, yes. So question for you, is it intuitive, counterintuitive would we be better off under Kamala Harris because the resistance would be the resistance? What is Dave Smith trying to say here?
So I made that point to my brothers in 2020 when they were worried about maybe Trump losing the election, or not even worried about Trump losing, but wondering if that would be bad if Trump lost. And I said, you know, you never know, because, you know, some similar points to Dave, and that it's easier to have to build your movement when it's on when the ball's on the other side of the court. But also, you don't know if there's going to be an economic crash. It'll get blamed on them, and then you can get back in 4 years. Like, there's these random things that can happen that can create circumstances in which winning is losing. And all the time, winning is losing, losing is winning. But at some point, you have to win. And the goal can't be to be the resistance forever, which is kind of where we're going, right? Where the problem with one side of the libertarians was they were cocktail libertarians. They were appealing to a Soros, Washington globalist establishment that was never going to love them and only use them for what they could get away with. It was never like a liberty directional movement. And now with Trump, there is actually an ability to work with the establishment to make legitimate progress. And ironically, the previous cocktail libertarians are totally missing this opportunity. Cato could have passed a bunch of deregulatory stuff if they just shut up about immigration. They could have advised on policy a bunch.
Isn't that
and
sad?
So they failed, and we failed to take up the mantle.
Humongous loss of opportunity with the Trump administration that, boy, oh boy, you know, some of them really love us. They love libertarians. Donald Trump's top lawyer, the guy who does all the executive orders, is a friend of mine here from Missouri. He's a Missouri lawyer, real conservative guy, and, you know, sharp as a tack, you know, interested in libertarian ideas, but just thinks the ideas are great, but the people are nuts. Totally true. Very good vindication of us. We'll talk about a little bit about degeneracy, immoral behavior, public displays of retardation, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. I was talking about Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore a little bit earlier, because my concern, of course, is that we want liberty, but I think a lot of these people don't want any responsibility, accordant responsibility that comes with the right of self-governance. So, but we'll discuss that in just a moment, because I want to kind of put to bed this idea that I think a lot of we've lost the election and now maybe this is going to be good because we'll be in the resistance or whatever, and we'll all be cohesive and stuff. We'll make a lot of money on our podcast. I think a lot of that is cope. Right, you've lost, so you need to. Somebody's going to have to wear the rose-colored glasses, right? I'm very much an optimist person, so I have to be careful that I check myself, that I'm not like being a perma bull in a ways. So there are fallacies in that way of thinking. I recognize, but then I think it's much worse to be a perma bear, because it's unfortunately, because of the 2007 housing collapse, Austin, we Ron Paul libertarians really thought our shit didn't stink, that we called the financial collapse, Peter Schiff, gold was money, et cetera, et cetera. The economy recovers. And here, 10, 15, 20 years later, here we are. Tea Party's gone. MAGA is now in charge. So we saw what happened during COVID. Was Trump great during COVID-19? No. Was the rest of the was red state America, was red America much better than blue America in COVID? Yes. I don't buy into this whole false equivalency of the Republicans and the Democrats anymore, Austin. Am I the brainwashed one?
No, and I warned about this a couple years ago, because I told people that Trump was going to have success, because after speaking to him, I got the inclination that he was serious about regulatory policy, and we are reindustrializing in a pretty crazy way. And you might think that that's impossible because how much progress has been made, how much progress is even possible. But the thing is, everyone else in the world is doing so badly that just by going in the other direction a little bit, we're sending all of the energy our way. From a site selection perspective, the U.S. is the only game in town right now. Everybody wants to be in the U.S., and we're making it as easy as possible to build. And so everything is flowing in here. And so you don't even have to do that much to pull the plug on the globalist regulatory cartel and start sending the energy back the other way. And we can radically increase that momentum, especially if the MAGA movement continues in a libertarian direction, takes that positive political capital and spends it wisely.
They don't want it. They want to call the president a pedophile. They want to jump on board the Democrats where they call the president a pedophile presidency. They want to accuse him of the most immoral crimes against humanity. Isn't Dave Smith he's back on Donald Trump as a murderous baby killer? Didn't he call Donald Trump a murderous baby killer, and then he voted for the murderous baby killer, and now he's saying Trump is again another murderous baby killer and we shouldn't have voted for him? I mean,
well, this is what I'm trying to say. You got to do what you got to do. Right? Everybody's yelling at me. Oh, you kill babies. It's like and then they post the Sam Harris meme about I don't care if Biden has kids in his basement. And I'm like, Trump doesn't have kids in his basement. I didn't say that would be cool. So why are you putting that on me?
Yeah.
A war is very different. Like a war would be perceived very differently in the polls than if someone actually discovered dead kids locked in Trump's basement. That would be a political killer. I wouldn't try and defend that.
Now, the most challenging, heart-wrenching part of all of this, Austin, is having to deal with the Thomas Massey problem, because Thomas Massey was kind of like at the top of his game when Trump came in 2024. Massey had been oppositional to Trump with DeSantis, but then in his race, there was this moment where even after he had feuded with the president endorsed him against his Democratic opponent. He called him a first-rate constitutionalist, I think, as a joke of him being a third-rate grandstander. Well, now it's no longer that he's calling Thomas Massey third-rate grandstander. It's now they are treating him like an infection in the Republican Party, and they're seeking to they're putting hydrogen peroxide onto Thomas Massey and his movement of people, which, by the way, are our people. So what the hell is going on? What's going to happen in the next few months? What if Rand Paul runs for president of the United States in the next presidential campaign season? What the hell are we going to do with this, Austin?
Well, then Rand Paul will just lose in the Republican primary, so that we can get to the end of that story pretty quick. But you're right. There's this issue with Massey where it's creating additional pressure for the libertarian movement to just oppose Trump, just in a politically partisan way, right? Which
even if we would agree with him, even if Trump's doing things that we agree with, we're supposed to oppose him.
Because it's a political enemy along that objective of reelecting Massey. So people were kind of forced into that position by Massey, starting the fight over the stupid budget, which is just so much of a less important issue than all this stuff we're getting into now. And maybe it would have turned anyways at some point, right? Maybe there's it's not actually just Massey, it's the fact that the movement was going on this trajectory anyways, and that's his fan base.
Now
he could have easily been governor of Kentucky, no problem.
All the people, he could have been in the USDA. He could have been the head of the USDA. He could have had the Prime Act.
More.
Could have sailed the Prime Act through Congress. Done a huge favor for his country if he had been able to contain himself on what turned out to be, and I'm not saying the Epstein files a nothing burger. There were men who committed crimes, women who committed crimes, people who should be in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell, may all these child predators go to hell. But he made it the centerpiece of his campaign, and it became the black hole of a vortex that sucked him into what I believe is a form of Trump derangement syndrome, him and his people, such that now, if you're looking at the outside, if you're looking at the event horizon and you're watching people like Smith or so many others, people that we know being sucked into this black hole of Trump derangement, there are other centers of gravity in the universe that are around this. In order to stand near Thomas Massey, one must also stand near a man by the name of Sneeko, which ultimately I don't think Sneeko matters in this story to some extent, other than he's like just a big booster of bad ideas. He's like a super spreader of retardation. But what matters is Professor Zhang, who Dave Smith, talk to whoever you want, have a conversation, that's fine. I'm not criticizing the freedom of speech here. Before any Smithians would accuse me of trying to silence or censor them, I'm allowed to disagree with the opinions here and also to morally shame you for your malbehavior. So Zhang, Professor Zhang, is this Asian man who is here. He's been on Tucker Carlson's show quite a bit. Who is this Professor Zhang? Why is he a part of this conversation? Forget Sneeko, but who is this guy that we're looking at on the bottom of the screen right now?
Well, I think he's a fake professor from Vancouver or somewhere in Canada, originally Chinese. He does videos in front of a whiteboard, but I've never seen a classroom. And he just does really subversive communist propaganda, right? Where I take that point that shows that the Massachusetts Bay Colony was the origin of modern progressivism because they ran the universities, and when the Northeast took over, they kind of staffed the bureaucracy and were a big part of the ideological core. That's an important point to show like the historical origins of the U.S. and the differences in the different regions and the origin of some of our bad ideas. And he twists that to say like the founders are Calvinists, which wasn't true, to undermine the entire your like faith in the creation of the U.S. And then he'll do this other thing where with the Epstein files and he'll say, "Oh, Trump is against the deep state, but he sold out to a bigger international super deep state." Right, so he's inverting this concept.
I mean, obviously, when you hear something like that, you have to kind of just laugh at it. Okay, first of all, but there are people who are taking this seriously.
So it's super serious.
Yes,
it's super serious,
very serious. Yes, the double cross has done triple cross with a double backstab and a triple double. Austin, it's
so this narrative is pervasive, though. It's what's in people's head because I see them like libertarians. I
see libertarians are quickly being sucked in the United States anyway, sucked into the black hole of they're entering, many of them, the event horizon, where they will soon be stretched thinner than a hair, and they will be completely indistinguishable from leftists. And when I say indistinguishable from leftists, I could say now that like with damn near totality, that many of these right-wing libertarians, or at least people who call themselves, Mises Caucus libertarians, when the takeover of the Libertarian Party was being embarked upon as a venture back then, and when they as their backup candidate brought out someone who he was high on gummies, he couldn't speak, he had gone, and every other word out of his mouth was Jews and Israel, and this is the greatest threat. I knew that the right-wing libertarians were soon going to be stretched thinner than a hair into leftism, because whatever you feel about Israel, anti-Semitism, everything that is anti-Jew tends to be go left. Everything, even though there are plenty of Jewish leftists, Democrats, communists, yes. But the thing is that once you go anti-Semite, eventually we need socialism and we need a national and socialist economic order in order to kill the Jews.
I'm afraid it's even worse than that, because Rechtenwald never talked about the Jews until he lost an election to Chase and went.
Oh, he wasn't Juiceburg?
Never.
Really?
He actually was a Marxist professor.
Oh, that's right.
In NYU. So we were thought he would be the least likely guy to go reactionary, until we realized that the reactionaryism is actually connected to leftism.
Yes.
It is leftism. So the more this gets closer together, right now you need a you used to be able to tell libertarians and leftists apart. Now you need a magnifying glass. Eventually, you're going to need a magnifying scope.
Oh, it's just sad. And poor Tom Woods. I mean, I've read, I think, damn near every one of Tom Woods' books. He and I have been friends for years. I put him on national television with the judge, featured him every time I could, invited him on every podcast. Tried to, we were friends on Facebook, personal friends.
You made Tom Woods?
No. I definitely no, but I definitely no. Tom Woods had made it before he met me, but I just when I got big on television, I put him on, and I said the other day, I mean, Tom he said something just. I don't know what it was. It was just, but it was so confusing. A man who's writing that I had read for years.
95% of Americans are for.
Yeah, he said
the U.S. losing the war to Iran is what he said, or Iran.
It was
that's not actually true.
Yeah, he implied or heavily inferred that 95% of Americans were against the war in Iran, and I was kind of like, "Are you out of your mind? I mean, why would you say something like that? That's so obviously not true." And then it's like, I lose respect for you, and then you unfollow me on Twitter. Okay, that's fine. Thomas Massey hasn't unfollowed me yet. At least give him credit for being able to withstand a little bit of criticism here and there from inside the tent. But I mean, a lot of these people, they're very thin-skinned. They're what they accuse the left. They're becoming left-wing coded, Austin. And many of them are headed that way, whether they think Chase Oliver is a degenerate scum-sucking pig, and he certainly is. They're in bed with Chase Oliver on foreign policy and gays for Gaza, and I'm over here with Donald Trump and MAGA and winning. I'm abolishing Missouri's income tax.
There's a real psychosis, and they've kind of lost their minds in a way it's just broken every strategy or trend or norm of the last 5 years. There was a clear understanding that the right was the only game in town, right? That's where the people who care about civilization are. That's what you need to win the left. And now they're not even playing for the right anymore, because they've just been forced into this defensive reactionary position. So it's kind of all falling apart on that, which is why they need Trump to not be successful, right? Because what happens if Trump is successful, right? Then through applying libertarian ideas, then the libertarian mantle goes out through him, and they want to control the libertarian movement. So they don't want anybody else to be successful.
Yeah.
This is why they don't talk about Malay, right? Because then Malay can become an authority. It needs to be the guys that are like Daniel McAdams does this all the time, spewing this crazy third worldist stuff which fits right in with the leftism. And Austin, most people don't agree with them, and they don't say anything.
Well, a lot of yes, they don't, because they've got no balls. Let me tell you something. Austin Peterson, there's a public record. You go back to 2013. Old AP was calling him out and getting called out. I remember how bad it hurt to see the first hit piece written on me by the Ron Paul Institute. But at that point in time, I knew to myself, I knew something was wrong, because I had worked so hard, campaign for Ron Paul. I was watching every move, supporting every show, every live stream, raising every dollar I could for 10 years for this guy, supporting him and his organizations. And then the man he puts at the head of his Foreign Policy Institute is the man who's spewing crazy pro-communist propaganda, literal pro-communist state propaganda, taking pictures of communist dictators. And I said something then and got called out for it. But you know what? I was right. I was right then and I'm right now.
Yeah. It's the very obvious reflexive anti-empire attitude, right? Where the CIA roots for everyone in their sphere, even if they're a theocrat or a communist, as long as you're aligned with the U.S. empire, then you're with us. So we took the opposite lens and we're like, okay, we're with everybody who's against the U.S. empire, no matter if they're a communist or a theocrat or whatever. And it turns out like values matter, right? So now we're not trying to do this globalist project where we have to tolerate everybody because we want to regulate them in an international cartel. We can just do our own thing and be happy when there's other countries that are going free and putting additional pressure on the globalist system.
Now,
with us, but not coordinated.
Austin,
we don't have to do the same policy.
Austin, Thomas Massey, they'll call people his defenders, people who are disagreeing with us very vehemently, and we're getting a lot of hate these days, but a lot of defenders too. But Massey's defenders and all these people will say that Massey's being consistent on spending, executive power, and war powers. So, is the real problem Massey himself or the broader anti-Trump ecosystem that's kind of turned him into a symbol?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not practical politics, and it's inconsistent too. I mean, it's fine to oppose gun restrictions. It's fine to oppose FISA and everything. You can do all that without going TDS. Like, there's this idea that you can't criticize Trump, but Mark Levin criticized Trump for the ceasefire in Iran really strongly. Just like 2 weeks ago, after Trump posted his book. Nobody cares. Steven Crowder criticized him for the Jesus meme. Matt Walsh criticizes him all the time.
Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles criticized him.
There's a huge difference between calling him a pedophile or calling for his impeachment and actually disagreeing. And Trump is incredibly tolerant of disagreement. I joked about this the other day. It's hilarious to me that people ask, like, when will you ever disagree with Trump? I disagree with Trump for an hour in person.
They don't care. They're not. They don't
like
care.
More.
They're not listening. They're not listening because they have isolated themselves to such. They're such isolationists, Austin, in theory and practice, because they're not talking to anybody out there outside their bubble. Tom Woods is unfollowing me. They're not listening to people who share these like 95% of their issues, or 90%,
and they're really hypocritical too because they talk about genocide and stuff. But Trump has done way more for the Palestinian people than any libertarian. Like, Israel was on their way to completely destroy or annex them absent some other dynamic changing. And Trump got the rich Arab interests involved and to take over and run Palestine. That way that puts a check on the terrorists, and Israel doesn't have to, it puts a check on Israel because they can't interfere with the interest of their allies, right? So now Palestine there's a ceasefire and they're able to start developing, and it's a big deal, right? And these guys were against that happening. Because forever the Arabs would think of the Palestinians as an expendable interest to advance the Arab Muslim sphere, right? Because we can use them in there and we can use them as kind of cannon fodder to kind of keep this thing alive. And the Arabs gave up on that before even the libertarians, who literally wanted to they didn't want Palestine to surrender because to them, that's Israel winning. They wanted Palestine to keep dying and suffering even after the Arabs gave up on it.
They don't care.
They're so invested in Israel not winning.
They've bought into the left view of Palestine, free Palestine, gays for Gaza. It's like, Chase Oliver and Dave Smith and Nick Fuentes are all in agreement on the U.S. empire.
And you know what? The left likes it. The left likes them too.
And that's why Code Pink.
If you're not
these communists, that's why these communists are giving to Thomas Massey's campaign, and a lot of libertarians are trying to look the other way. No, wait. So you can accuse me of being a Jew and taking $7,000, but when it's publicly reported that Code Pink, the people who just went to Cuba with the flotilla, remember Hassan Piker, all Medea Benjamin, all these people who hate you, would kill you as soon as they got a chance in government, would strangle you to death as soon as they got into government. Those are your friends. You take money from Code Pink. What? And you can accuse me of being a Jew who takes $7,000. Never taken a dime from a Jew in my life, except from when my wife let me borrow a little money to buy the house.
Yeah. Well, so if the left is, if you're just having TDS, you're not a threat to the left, right?
Yes.
And so then you can get ad dollars on YouTube. You can appeal to TDS audience, like a diverse TDS audience.
Austin,
the collection of haters and over the years.
No. It's true. You can't make money online, really, if you are not. If you're pro-Trump, they will restrict your ability to earn money online. I can speak to this from a first person. Like that when I was critical of Trump in 2016, when I was running against him, social media loved me. They put everywhere. They were posting my content everywhere. But as soon as I went pro-Trump, everything changed. Monetization, YouTube, demonetization, everything, everywhere started changing. So these people like to act like they're these brave warriors in the resistance fighting against Trump's imperial colonial, actions and behaviors in Iran. But really all they're doing is carrying water for the left, and they're getting rewarded for it financially. And they think it's because they're popular, when reality they're just being signal boosted by places like Code Pink and Tehran.
Yep. And then they make up for it by saying, oh, I'm so brave, I'm going to be killed by Israel. When we all know the left is the threat of killing you, right? Like if there's anybody behind Butler besides the kid who pulled the trigger, it's the left, right?
Yes.
It's these international interests, like a super, super deep state, as Jang would call it. Because that's a big deal. Like the deconstruction of the WEF has implications of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and control over the global economy, right? So there's some people who are going to be interested in that.
Yeah, and I'm never going to forgive some of these motherfuckers for playing party to the conspiracy theories about who assassinated Charlie Kirk as well. A lot of that has been going on as well. Austin, it's 9 a.m. I don't want to lose you, but I'd love to talk for hours, Austin, but I got to wrap this up. I'll give you the final word, and then anything that you want to share with our audience that you think they need to hear or plug before we let you go.
Yeah, well, my example of the demonetization thing is we have the show Rudyard Lynch and I, History 102, and we get like 30,000, 50,000 views on YouTube, views on other platforms, and not monetized at all, like 100,000 views an episode. Likely view count suppression too, because Elon will post an episode and it won't change at all. It's like, that's a little strange. So yeah, it's like this UK censorship regime is hiding right behind, the door, and all these people can pretend to be brave, but it's like that's a defense mechanism against this subconscious realization that they're not actually a threat. And I think when Charlie Kirk was killed, it actually scared a lot of the commentators into taking a position that guaranteed that they wouldn't be a threat, which, is, I don't want to use the words fair enough, because I believe that's a bad decision, but it would be less despicable if they weren't also virtue signaling about how Israel's going to kill them because they're speaking the truth.
Bunch of homos.
While they're compromising our civilization.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface of a much longer conversation that needs to happen, Austin, and the fact that it makes people uncomfortable, I think, is another reason why. I see, I've lost a lot of friends in recent months, but sometimes you have to shed dead weight. I've lit people's hair on fire. Someone is accusing us now of selling our souls for money, which has got to be the most goddamn retarded shit I have heard. If you knew one damn thing about how to make money online, you'd know there's no money in shilling for Donald Trump. So here's what the thing is, Austin. I want to talk to you more about this. I don't know if we could do some kind of weekly thing if you're too busy, but we got to talk more, friend.
Yep.
Where can people follow you online?
History 102 on YouTube, and then I have my own show on YouTube. I did an episode on the Iran war you might like. That's called Austin Paget with the @ is Ludwig Never Mises. So I got to figure out my YouTube advertising. And then Twitter is Austin Paget, Ludwig Never Mises also.
Ludwig Never Mises, the new liberty movement. Austin.
Yeah, and I'm not up for any of this messing around. We've got a civilizational war to win or societal collapse. There's like a 10-year tail already on Gen Z if we don't fix the education system.
Pilling. No more black
pilling.
pilling.
Local politics is really important. Vance had a really good point about that the other day, and that's why Massey should have been governor of Kentucky, because from the governorship of Kentucky, especially with Trump at the federal level, letting states do whatever they want, he could have completely deregulated Kentucky and made this awesome.
It's over.
Yeah, so
it's over.
So think about that. Think about what you ruined. Think about what you lost, and think about what you can do in the future.
They blew it, not us. I tried, and therefore no one should criticize me. But I will be going to New Hampshire April 30th, the end of this month. The first meeting for libertarian nationalists ever in history is happening in Manchester, New Hampshire. Me and Jeremy Kaufman. Hope to see some of you there. Have a good one.
Peace.
Thank you very much, Austin Paget. I spoke to a libertarian yesterday. I've been doing phone calls. He's very upset with me. I said, I'll get on the phone and I'll talk to anybody. We had a nice conversation, talked about 40 minutes. And I asked him, I didn't ask him how much he earned. I asked him, does he pay payroll taxes? No, he didn't pay payroll taxes, but he owns rental properties. I'm like, okay. And you have kids. He's a dad. All right, you're a dad. And then I asked him, just a few other just sort of personal questions about where he's at in life, what he's doing. Because I wasn't going to give 40 minutes of my life to a man if I didn't respect what he had to say. And how do you gain my respect? Well, it's earned. It's not just handed out. You pay taxes in the system that we all hate. You own land, you have property, you have children, you have responsibilities. I don't want to hear from any broke losers who can't get their own lives together. If you are poor and you are angry at the government and you call yourself a libertarian and you have no responsibility in your life and you just want to do dope and kill babies in the womb, then I'm sorry. I don't respect your opinion on things. You want to talk about war, man? Get off the drugs. Get off the drugs. Okay, get your life together. Clean up your room. Read some Jordan Peterson. Stop being such a fucking loser. Clean your own room before you clean anybody else's. Be a person whose opinion I could admire. Live up to my standards. You arrogant, self-serving, son of a warmongering neoconservative Austin Peterson. You're a baby killer. You're evil, Austin. You're evil. I'm going to go home and bite my pillow is what I'm going to do. You homos. This is the Wake Up America show. And if you thought that you ever could predict where it was going to go, how long it was going to go, if you ever thought that you were going to be able to predict that, you were wrong. So you better come back here again tomorrow. But you better watch Cafecito Libre today. There are 5 stinking shows on the 4 Liberty Network. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 shows. So why don't you watch them all? Cafecito Libre at 3 p.m. today. 7 p.m. tonight, Culturama starring our friend Daniela Pensack. Join the 4 Liberty Network at 4libertynetwork.com. And come back and join us again tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
In a city where businesses never sleep, the technology still crashes. When technology turns criminal, they send up the signal. He's not a myth, and he's definitely not your nephew who knows computers. He installs, he protects, he backs it up, he keeps your business online and out of trouble. Managed IT, security, cloud, support that actually answers the phone. Layer 8 tech. When your network breaks, he wakes. Call Drew before your tech needs a rescue signal.